In this video, we will review symbols found on blueprints for machinists. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some of the symbols that you may come across on blueprints. Back in lesson number 1, when we talked about orthographic projection, we had our symbol that we were using, third angle projection. So these two symbols represent third angle projection. If we were working with first angle projection, these two graphics would be flipped and in opposite positions to represent first angle projection. So those you're going to find in your title block. Some abbreviations and symbols that you'll come across quite regularly. So our center line, diameter, a repeating feature. So you might have a hole drilled and it'll say 4 times. Depth, counterbore or spot face, countersink. Radius is marked with an R, so R9, R12, etc. Spherical radius would be SR9 or SR12. And spherical diameter would be an S with the diameter symbol. So some other symbols that we're going to come across on our drawings. This section that I have circled in blue, we'll be looking at these in lesson number 10 when we look at geometric dimensioning and tolerancing. You can take a quick look at those. Some of them you might already be familiar with, but we'll get into their meanings in lesson 10. At the bottom of this chart, we have 2 more, maximum material condition and least material condition. We're going to look at these in part 2 of this lesson, lesson number 8, under limits and fits. And a few other symbols that you might come across on your drawings. A projected tolerance zone. This might come across with our geometric dimensioning and tolerancing. We have diameter. Basic dimension, we're going to talk about basic dimensions in lesson 8, limits and fits. So basic dimension is your dimension before you've applied any tolerances to it or anything, or just how it's referred to. A reference dimension, so you might have one dimension shown that's 20 millimeters and another dimension beside it is 30 millimeters. And up above it, they might put 50 millimeters inside of the brackets. So if a dimension is inside of those brackets, it means that it's for reference only. We have some symbols for tapers. So if you have a cylindrical object with a taper, you'd see this conical taper symbol. If you have something flat with a taper on it, just the regular taper symbol. And again, counterbore, countersink. Our depth symbol, you'll see that called out with dimensions. Square, dimension not to scale. So if it's underlined, it'd be a dimension not to scale. You're not going to see that often. An arc radius, so it gives you the dimension with the arc shown above it. Radius, spherical diameter. Between, you might see this one the odd time, and statistical tolerance. So chances are you're going to come across even more symbols than these in your career as a machinist, but these are some of the basic ones to get us started with looking at blueprints and interpreting their symbols for machinists. That concludes our review of symbols on blueprints for machinists.